Friendly reminder, this is a movie that has truly scared someone to death, adapted from Stephen King's novel Monkey of the same name and produced by James Wan. It was released and is already being called the craziest of the year. A horror film, quickly bring your clueless friend to watch it together. The story begins with a blood-covered pilot hurriedly walking into an antique shop, placing a monkey toy on the counter and asking the owner if there is interest in buying it back. The owner glanced at it and intended to refuse, also reminding him that the monkey's drumstick was stuck, affecting the beating of the snare drum below. Unexpectedly, the pilot suddenly, with lingering fear, told him that this monkey is not an ordinary toy. Whenever it beats the drum, it will take away a person's alive. But the shop owner scoffed at this, thinking he was being deceived. Just then, the drumstick in the monkey's hand suddenly came down. The pilot, seeing this, was so frightened that he backed away, but the shop owner thought he was overreacting, unaware that a Jerry on the shelf had just bitten through a piece of string, causing an attached crossbow bolt to pierce the shop owner's abdomen in an instant. And as the monkey beat the drum again, the crossbow bolt automatically returned to its original position and even pulled out the shop owner's intestines. Seeing the monkey toy kill another person in an instant, the furious pilot decided to destroy the toy. So he picked up a flamethrower from the store, intending to burn the monkey toy to ashes in the alley. But unexpectedly, no matter how intense the heat, it couldn't harm the toy at all. And after that night, the pilot mysteriously disappeared, leaving only his wife and their teenage twin sons to rely on each other for support. But seeing his brother Hal being bullied by his older brother Bill due to his timid nature, which ultimately led him to fantasize about taking a bowling ball and brutally killing his brother in the middle of the night. Of course, this was just his imagination, as Hal could only choose to silently endure silently. One night, the brothers discovered a beautiful box among their father's belongings, and inside was that strange toy, a monkey. As soon as Hal took out the monkey, it was immediately snatched away by Bill, who twisted the wind-up key on the monkey only to find that it would just grin foolishly, which he found quite boring, so he threw it back to Hal. The next morning, since their mother had something urgent to attend to, the brothers had to go out with the babysitter. However, before getting in the car, Hal noticed that the monkey toy unexpectedly appeared on the seat. He mistakenly thought it was his brother Bill who took it, so he didn't mind. Shortly after, the nanny took the two of them to a Japanese restaurant, planning to watch the chef perform while eating. But at that moment, the monkey toy that was initially on the back seat somehow ended up in the driver's seat, and it beat the drum on its chest. At the same time, Hal suddenly felt an inexplicable chill. Then he noticed that the chef, demonstrating knife skills, suddenly slipped and cut the nanny the neck. The mother was worried that this accident would leave a psychological shadow on the brothers, so she advised them that everyone has to die someday. It's better to enjoy life while you can. Therefore, after attending the nanny's funeral, the three of them started dancing at home. However, Hal always felt that the nanny's death was too suspicious, so at night he quietly approached the monkey toy and questioned it about whether it was related to the nanny, related to the death. Unexpectedly, Bill saw this scene and mistakenly thought his brother liked the ugly monkey toy, demanding Hal say he would marry the monkey. Hal originally did not want to say such humiliating words, but seeing Bill raise his fist, he also could only comply. But what Harold didn't expect was that the next day at school, Bill not only spread around that he liked the monkey toy, but also brought classmates to throw 2.5 boxes of bananas on him. Humiliated, Harold returned home and asked the monkey if it really had the ability to kill, and if so, he hoped it would kill his brother for him, Bill. After speaking, he wound the clockwork, and as expected, the monkey started beating the drum. But to Hal's surprise, the monkey toy did not follow his command to kill his brother. Instead, it chose their mother as the target. As a result, when Bill came home from school, he happened to see their mother, who was preparing dinner in the kitchen, die on the spot. According to the doctor's diagnosis, the mother died from a rare disease, but only Hal knew that it was all related to that eerie monkey. To eliminate this root of trouble, Hal decided to dismember the monkey on the spot with a kitchen knife. However, as soon as he chopped off one of the monkey's arms, he discovered that the toy monkey actually could bleed. This instead made Hal even more frightened, so he acted decisively and chopped the monkey toy into pieces. Now, since no one was there to look after them, the two brothers were sent to their uncle's house. But come nighttime, Bill noticed the streetlight outside flickering on and off. As he approached the window to look out, he happened to see the eyes of the monkey toy. Terrified, Bill quickly turned around, only to find that the monkey toy had appeared in the bedroom once again. This strange phenomenon made the brothers realize that this monkey toy must... Indeed, it is very strange. The two couldn't help but start to suspect that the bizarre deaths of the babysitter and mother were likely related to this strange toy. To verify this assumption, Bill decided to wind the spring again. The result was that their uncle, who went camping in the mountains, was trampled into mush by over 60 wild horses through his sleeping bag early the next morning. Now, the brothers finally confirmed that the real culprit behind everything was the monkey toy. To prevent it from causing more harm, the brothers repackaged the toy into a box, wrapped it with chains, and threw it into the pit behind their aunt's house. For the next 25 years, the monkey toy did not harm anyone. Who would have thought that this night, Hal's aunt was suddenly awakened by a loud noise, thinking that a thief had entered the house. She tiptoed downstairs, but unexpectedly fell directly down the stairs, with countless needles piercing her face. The aunt endured the pain, just finished pulling the needles from her face, and then smelled what seemed like a gas leak in the kitchen. So she leaned her head over the stove to check. The next second, the stove suddenly burst into flames, and the aunt's head was immediately engulfed in fire. Startled, the aunt ran around in a panic and accidentally crashed into the fence outside the door, dying instantly. After the aunt's death, the family's belongings were auctioned in the town. At this time, a young man with long hair immediately took a liking to the monkey toy that should have been at the bottom of the well. Meanwhile, Hal, who had left nearly 10 years ago, had grown up and was now a supermarket cashier. Since he had already seen the toy's ability to move instantly, Hal always believed the monkey toy would make a comeback. To avoid involving his family, he could only choose to divorce his wife and see his son Pete only once a year. After father and son met this time, he planned to take his son out to play. However, come nighttime, he dreamed that he was grabbed by a gigantic monkey paw, first thrown into a bright, colorful abyss, and then almost hacked to death by the monkey. Hal woke up from the nightmare, and realizing it was just a dream, sighed in relief. Then he found a missed call on his phone and immediately called back, only to realize it was his brother Bill. Hal was surprised that Bill would actively contact him, considering their last meeting was 10 years ago. At this moment, Bill also informed him of their aunt's passing and speculated that the monkey toy had very likely reappeared. Because all the deceased are related to their family, Bill suggested that his brother go to their aunt's house to investigate the situation, reasoning that, since he is still single and hasn't enjoyed life yet, he shouldn't take risks. The younger brother has a former wife and a son at this time, but after they hung up the phone, the air conditioning unit outside the hotel suddenly fell to the ground, and the strong electric current instantly spread to the pool at Hal's feet. At this moment, a beautiful woman was just about to jump in to swim. Hal was about to stop her, but unfortunately, it was too late, and the girl was instantly electrocuted and torn apart. Seeing that the monkey's curse had already reached him, Hal had no choice but to take his son to his aunt's house. As soon as he arrived, he learned from the real estate agent Barbara that recently the town has seen a series of bizarre deaths. First, his aunt's head caught fire and was impaled on a fence. The next day, someone had their neck cut by a lawnmower, and someone else was even scalded to death by steam. Even more bizarre, there was a little boy who liked to play golf and was actually bitten to death by a cobra that emerged from a hole. After hearing about these strange ways people died, Harold is almost certain that someone is using the monkey toy to kill, but he still thinks that the strange monkey is still at his aunt's house, so he asks Barbara to take him to find the monkey. However, just as he opened a cabinet door, the shotgun inside accidentally discharged, killing Barbara on the spot. Since people have been dying frequently in the town recently, the police did not suspect Hal of being the murderer and just casually took a statement. After the police left, Hal received another call from Bill. Through the chat, Hal suddenly realized that compared to finding the whereabouts of the monkey toy, Bill seemed more concerned about whether they had come to the town. This made Hal suspect that the whole thing might be related to his brother Bill, or that the monkey toy might even be in Bill's possession. However, Bill not only didn't answer his question, but also directly hung up the phone. In fact, as Hal suspected, after Bill discovered that the monkey only harmed people related to the user, he guessed that their mother was killed by his brother Hal. Thus, he soon returned to the well, intending to take the monkey toy. Unexpectedly, it was already empty, with only the monkey toy's wind-up remaining. Bill knew this was the monkey hinting to him that it would surely return. So, Bill secluded himself in the town and entrusted the long-haired man to help him find the toy. Whereabouts? Meanwhile, just that, while Hal was trying to find his brother's whereabouts, the long-haired man impersonated a police officer and broke into their aunt's house, taking the father and son hostage and bringing them to be downstairs at Bill's house. This action was not arranged by Bill, but by the long-haired man wants to steal the magical monkey toy. To this end, he used Hal's life as a threat. Threatening, he ordered the boy Pete to secretly sneak into Bill's house to steal the monkey toy back. Although Pete did not know what the monkey toy looked like, he had no choice but to agree in order to save his father. Hal also warned his son not to turn the wind-up key, but when Pete entered the room, soon, after stepping on a thread and nearly getting hit by an axe, he realized the room was full of traps. But with his small frame and agile movements, Pete quickly made it to the living room. At this moment, he indeed saw Bill fiddling with the monkey toy. Bill seemed not at all surprised that Pete would come here and even urged Pete to wind up the toy.
Although Hal had warned his son not to turn.
Although Hal had warned his son not to turn the spring, Pete, being at an age brimming with curiosity, took the monkey and turned it gently.
Wind up.
The next second, the monkey toy began to beat the drum in his hands. At this moment, the young man threatening Hal suddenly had his gun misfire, creating a hole in the car window, and the swarm of bees from the tree flew in unison through the hole into his mouth. After witnessing this, Hal was terrified and ran out of the car. Meanwhile, Bill asked Pete to turn it once more, but this time the boy heard his father's cries outside and chose to refuse.
Bill saw this and had to snitch.
He took out the toy, intending to forcefully bend the monkey's arm to make it continue drumming. However, even though he used all his strength, the monkey didn't budge and even sent Bill flying away. Immediately after, the monkey, which had just refused to drum, started drumming rapidly, as if complaining about Bill's disrespect toward it just now. As the drumming stopped, Bill suddenly heard a series of screams coming from outside. He looked outside through the window and was shocked to find the town in chaos. Next, a plane crashed there, causing an explosion. And as the monkey played the drum again, the ceiling of Bill's house shattered on the spot, and the bodies of several town residents fell onto it. At this moment, Hal finally arrived and questioned Bill why he controlled the monkey to cause so much carnage, but Bill replied that everything he did was just to kill his brother and avenge his mother. Unfortunately, despite winding the clockwork for several days, the monkey refused to kill him. That's why Bill planned to use Pete's hand, but unfortunately, still, it was all for nothing. Hal told his brother that they had all committed unforgivable mistakes, but the main culprit should be that damn monkey toy. With his constant persuasion, Bill finally decided to let go of his hatred and with his brother, reconciliation. Just then, the monkey unexpectedly beat the drum again. The next second, Bill was killed by the trap he set up himself. To prevent the monkey toy from harming others, Hal did not hide it away, but decided to take it with him to avoid another irreversible tragedy. This peculiar monkey, as a typical Stephen King-style movie, superficially tells a story about This horror story actually explores the impermanence of death and communication issues within families. In fact, many things could have been solved through communication, yet for various reasons, misunderstandings grew, ultimately causing a lifelong, irreparable pain. That's it for today's story. I'm Xiangzhu. See you next time.